This is episode 258 of the Super League Pod, where we've got trailers and chariots, foxes and snakes, volcanoes and Beano characters. We have a host playing a magic trick, and all the ups and downs of this week in rugby league news. Where else will you hear the big questions being asked, but not answered, like, when did you stop getting to play the ball to yourself? And how can you get away with an affair during lockdown? Get strapped in? It's SLP time. Hello listeners, you're listening to episode 258 of the Super League Pod. That is right, we are still going, even though we've got no live action to talk about the weekend. We're still going to bring you some good old-fashioned fan-based rugby league chat, and this week, as well as myself, Mark, and regular co-hosts Alan and Sarah, we've got a special co-host making his annual visit to the Super League Pod, and it's Leigh Whitnell. Why a fan, Leigh? Welcome along, Leigh.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, no, it's our pleasure. Absolutely. Basically, you were sending in so many emails because you seem to have nothing better to do now that you're not going to games and doing all the training, that we thought, well, we'd best get him on because he's got a lot to say.
Yeah, that you couldn't be more right.
Alan, me and Sarah have been the staples of the lockdown. I feel like we've needed this. Me and Sarah have, but you've been a bit busy the last few weeks. But nice to have you back.
Thank you for it's nice to be back. It's nice that the world is a little bit more stable, at least in this household for a bit.
You mean the new order's a bit more established?
Yeah, something like that. It's reached a plateau, I suppose. Hopefully, it won't get any busier.
And Sarah, finally, hello. Last but not least.
Hello. You all right?
Yeah, good. Yeah, we'll catch up on how our weeks have been at the end of the show and sort of talk about some of the things that we're doing to cope with lockdown and stuff. But Sarah, do you want to start the show proper by letting us know who is sponsoring this week's show?
Yep. Once again, this episode is sponsored by Rob's Toy Shop. You can find a wide range of toys, gifts, rugby league birthday cards and more at Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. Visit stores.ebay.co.uk/Rob's Toy Shop, and on any orders over £5 you can earn 5% cash back, and also 1% of your ordered value will go into the SLP coffers by putting SLP discount at checkout.
Excellent stuff. Thanks, Rob's Toy Shop, for their continued support. I hope people are still ordering from. I mean, it's pretty good that it all comes from the same place and there's one bloke doing it all. So you can kind of, as long as that bloke isn't caught up in anything, we know that it's going to be safe and clean, your orders, and you get to have toys, games, loads of stuff on there for people to enjoy. So that's cool. This week, guys, I think we're gonna we're gonna have to talk about what's going on with coronavirus, the COVID-19 pandemic, in the news. But we've actually got a few other pieces of news to talk about this week, which is quite exciting. Fairly slim on the match reviews this week. I think everyone went heavy on watching old games over the Easter weekend, and kind of now with maybe needed a breather. One thing I would say, I don't know if anyone else is experiencing this, but I'm going to struggle, when we get back to actually watching games, because I haven't seen Wigan lose for 7 weeks.
You've obviously been blessed with the choice of matches.
So we'll talk about. We've got a couple anyway of match reviews, and then we're talking about wingers this week. We gave Leigh the choice, and he wanted to speak about wingers. Any reason in particular, Leigh?
Well, I thought it is actually the only position that I have actually played in a rugby league game when I made my debut, age 40, on my swan song on the same pitch. But yeah, so but also it's I think you've been going backwards and forwards between forwards and backs every week, and if I've had a pick centres, you would have talked about some of the same people that you talked about last week. So I thought that was a good one, and also it was a good opportunity for me to talk about Josh Charnley, who I love.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure we'll get to Josh Charnley among many other of the best wingers from the history and the present in rugby league. But first of all, we are going to get through news from the last week in rugby league.
Okay, so to news from this week, and we'll talk about that COVID-19 stuff first, and we'll do it in order. So on the 14th of April, 4020 reported that the French Rugby League Federation had announced the cancellation of the remainder of the 1920 season. They suspended the season last month, but this new announcement means that no matches will be played for the remainder of the campaign, with no winner declared. The decision, which concerns all levels of the professional hierarchy in France, was taken after proposals to play games behind closed doors didn't attract sufficient support from members. Clubs will be reimbursed 30% of the costs associated with involvement in the season, and this follows the announcement of the President Emmanuel Macron's extension of the lockdown in France until the 11th of May. Anything to say about this one before we move on?
Well, it's just that the French Rugby League season still runs through the winter, doesn't it? So it's a slightly different setup. So obviously we'd be kind of at the business end of that season. It's disappointing, actually. We were going to get one of our friends on to talk about this. One of the people who focuses more on France there, who runs one of the Catalan Dragons fan pages, and there's nothing to talk about anymore because those matches aren't there. So we're hoping to get something going on with James at the sort of climax of this year's French competition, and it's not to be. But yeah, it's where it reflects where they are in their structure. We just need English football to announce the same, don't we now, for everyone to really enjoy themselves.
Yeah, and so moving on to Tom Lineham said that he actually had coronavirus in a Q&A on the Warrington's social media pages. He said, first of all, I've had the virus. My missus is on the front line. She works at Wigan Hospital. She contracted the virus and brought it home. For a week, I've been fighting it off. I felt like I've been hit by a bus. I've had all the symptoms: fever, boiling hot 1 minute, freezing cold the next. The dog's on my chest and I've breathing difficulties, aching head to toe. Now I've lost all sense of smell and taste. I've been out of action for a week. I had a pretty good routine before that, but the virus has got me, so I'm trying to fight it off and come out the other side. So I'm assuming he's sharing this very detailed coverage of his symptoms. Just to describe to people that it can hit anybody, including fit young rugby players.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, obviously, his missus working at a hospital. Wigan's been one of the fairly bad hit towns in the northwest, really, as well. So yeah, I mean, every credit to his missus going out there and working on the front line, and it shows that those people are at this risk, and their loved ones as well are at risk of getting it from them as well. So it was, he's a fun guy, isn't he? He shared it in a fun way. When you watch the video, the way he sort of explains it is not. He doesn't take life too seriously, does he?
I think he's brilliant. I do. When his missus walks behind shot as well and tells us to get out of the shot, he's got a great personality. I think he'll make a good TV host at some point in the future.
Yeah, he's maybe the next Wagger.
Yeah.
Moving on to the 15th of April then, and rugby league player Danny Washbrook is to raise money for charity by cycling the 380-mile length of the Tour de Yorkshire in his back garden. With the annual cycling event cancelled because of the coronavirus pandemic, Washbrook will cycle 10 miles per day on a rolling road for 38 days, starting today, the 20th of April. On his Just Giving page, Washbrook said, "As the Tour de Yorkshire has been cancelled, I will cycle the length in my..." Oh, it's just the same as what we've done. But he's doing this to raise money for two places that he believes do great work: Dove House Hospice and NHS Charities Together. So obviously, if you search for Danny Washbrook on Just Giving, you'll get his page if you want to donate. I think that's lots of people are doing lots of good charity stuff at the moment, especially for the NHS. That seemed to be one of the bigger challenges that I'd seen from some of the rugby league people. So good luck to Danny Washbrook in that, and plus he's one of the older players, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, 380 miles on a rolling road thing is not easy. you need to concentrate because you can fall off those things. So yeah, good luck to him on that.
Definitely. 4020 News detailed the latest reports in Australia that suggested the NRL is set to secure a loan of around 250 million Australian dollars, which is approximately 126 million pounds, to safeguard the future of its member clubs. The Sydney Morning Herald's Sam Phillips said that the game has been brought to its knees after broadcast partners Nine and Fox skipped recent payments to the competition. So they're going into the private equity market to help keep their funds in place, I guess.
Yeah, from what I see of this, as you say, it's more of a guarantee, and it's I think it's part of the longer term strategy in terms of their discussions with the broadcasters. It's a very complicated topic, isn't it? Because the broadcasters are obviously losing money, but there's no, the teams can't do anything about it because they're duty bound not to play games. So.
And also, Fox is basically Sky, isn't it? It's like a subscription service in Australia. So
yeah,
the reason that people subscribe, especially in New South Wales and Queensland, is for the rugby, so for the rugby league. So it seems to be short-sighted of them to bail out on it so quickly, or to bail out on their contract, I guess, when there's every chance it might come back in May, according to them.
Yeah, I think it's power plays, isn't it, between them as varying partners. That they have. There is actually a clear fight between the power, between the sport and the broadcasters, unlike over here, because it is a stronger league. So yeah, I think it's more of there's more politics going on in this than anything else. To be fair.
Yeah, it's complicated. I don't really understand what's going on that much. If I'm honest, I've not tried to read the detail because, but yeah, it seems like these private equity firms that the Super League were talking to maybe are the same firms that the NRL has now gone to raise these money, and probably the NRL seen as more of a sure thing for these companies than the Super League. So it might have a knock-on effect to the Super League. In terms of the outside revenues, it was thinking it could generate if the broadcast deal wasn't quite where they wanted it to be going into 2022. So that's the side of this that isn't covered there in the sort of headline story, but is an interesting side note to watch develop.
Yeah.
Total Rugby League reported that funds are being raised for a family of a popular amateur club chairman who sadly lost his battle with COVID-19. Dave Roberts, who has had a long affiliation with the Eastmoor Dragons, had contracted the virus and sadly passed away on the 14th of April. A GoFundMe page has been set up. If you want to donate, just search for Eastmoor Dragons on GoFundMe and you should be able to find the page. But yeah, sad loss to the rugby league community there.
Absolutely.
But in more positive sort of news, Love Rugby League reported that sports manufacturer Steeden have released limited edition balls to support the NHS at this difficult time. The balls are priced at £15 with £5 from each ball purchase being donated to the NHS, and the balls actually look quite sweet, quite sleek, don't they? The Steeden balls.
Yes.
I've ordered mine.
Al, is it official NHS blue? Have we did we get that confirmed or not?
It looks right, which is and the heart is in the right place, which at the moment is all that really matters, isn't it?
Yeah. Sarah, you've been very quiet. Do you want to tell us about the 16th of April?
Yep. So on the 16th of April, The Guardian reported that Super League clubs will notify their players of proposals to cut salaries across the competition over the coming days, with a warning that the reductions may last the entirety of this year. The Guardian said that all 12 top flight clubs are putting together pay cut proposals, which are expected to be sent to players by the end of this week. Super League has not sent out a competition-wide proposal for pay cuts, but clubs have instead formed their own packages based on their individual financial projections. It's believed that at a recent meeting, clubs agreed to all try to work within a 10% of one another. Clubs are also taking such a long-term approach not only